Hi, I'm Bill Bradley. Join me for a recent excerpt of American Voices. My guest today is a forest bathing guide. No, that doesn't include water or shampoo. It's a translation of the Japanese term called shindin. That means you immerse yourself in nature.
Lose yourself in nature and find peace. Lose yourself in nature and find peace. Troubles will come, troubles will release. Lose yourself in nature and find peace.
You walk in the forest. It's relaxing, calming, even medicinal. Melanie Choukas Bradley is a certified forest bathing guide and the author of the book, The Joy of Forest Bathing, Reconnect with Wild Places and Rejuvenate Your Life. Melanie, thanks so much for being on American Voices.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to talk with you, Senator Bradley.
And let's just say at the beginning, we are not related, right?
That is correct. Not that I know of, although I would be very pleased if we were.
Oh. So tell us about forest bathing.
Forest bathing, so it's a practice that started in Japan in the 1980s. It's called Shindin-yoku, which means forest bath or forest bathe. And although it started in the 1980s, it's really rooted in the ancient Japanese reverence for nature. And all it is going out into the forest or even into a city park or even your own backyard and tuning in to the beauty and wonder of nature with all your senses. And in Japan, they started encouraging people to leave the cities. You know, Tokyo is a very intense urban environment and people work really long hours. So the forest agencies started urging them to go out into the beautiful forests, which lie throughout Japan, and spend time sitting under the trees, lying under the trees, sitting next to the streams and rivers and listening to the flowing water, watching and listening to the birds up in the canopy. And they found that this became a very popular practice. And now in Japan, millions of people go out to forests that are actually dedicated to this practice. And it's become extremely popular here and all around the world.
So if I go with you into the forest and you're my guide, what do you tell me to do?
Well, the first thing we do is we turn off our phones, just disengaging from electronics and, our daily to-do lists. I tell people to think of the airplane mode setting on their phones as forest bathing mode. So that's the first thing we do. Then we slow down, we breathe deeply, and we just tune in to the beauty and wonder of our surroundings. So we may close our eyes and listen to the birds and listen to the breezes blowing through the trees. If we're in the city, we'll also hear the traffic sounds around us. That's all part of the experience. I lead lots of walks in the cities. With all our senses, we smell the flowers, we smell the wonderful fragrances coming up from the earth. We may, hug the trees, touch the trees, pick up nice stones and hold them. Just connect with our natural surroundings in any way that we can. And it's amazing how good that feels. I'm sitting under a tree next to Rock Creek in Rock Creek Park in Washington, watching the creek flow lazily by. The water's very clear today. The sun is shining. I'm listening to birds singing and the breeze in the trees. Can you hear them? The sky, the trees, the flowing water, and the wonderful smells coming up from the earth.
So you have this experience. It's a very deep experience for some of the participants. Is there any science behind it?
There's been a lot of health research all around the world showing both the physical and mental health benefits of spending this quiet time in nature. And some of the benefits that have been found are lower blood pressure, lower pulse rate, increased heart rate variability, which is a healthy thing, lower levels of cortisol, also quicker recovery from illness and surgery. there are studies that have shown that even if patients can see trees outside their hospital windows, they will recover more quickly. And then the mental health benefits have also been studied, and it's been found that elevated mood, improved focus, a decrease in ruminative thoughts, and also relaxation and better sleep, and a boost in imagination and creativity. So it's really exciting that all this research is going on.
So, when you're in nature, at least speaking for myself, you see the connection among things. I mean, ecosystem
Exactly.
involves plants and animals and streams and weather events. And so the real question is, in a world where there are increasing divisions among people, when people go on into nature, do you think that there's a healing effect on these divisions outside of their experience of nature?
I do. You do feel so connected when you're in nature, and you really feel connected to all of life, all living things, and to the world of the spirit that we share.
A man I admire a lot before he passed away was Father Thomas Keating. And he once said that there are two books of Revelation. One's in the Bible, one's in nature.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah, I thought that captures a little bit of what you're doing. I hear you were in Japan. You learned a tip for what to do when you see a fountain. Tell us about that.
Yes, this is a wonderful tip that I picked up from Japanese forest bathing guides up in the Japanese Alps, north of Nagano. So what you do, and you can do this if you're next to a stream or a river or the ocean, or if you're next to a fountain in a city park, you turn your back to the flowing water, you close your eyes, and then you cup your ears in the front. And what that does is it kind of shuts out all of the sounds in front of you, and it magnifies the sound of the water behind you. So people just love to do this on forest bathing walks, and it's something I do whenever I'm near flowing water. I'll turn around, close my eyes and cup my ears and just spend a few moments listening to the soothing flowing water.
So why do you think it's so important for people to focus on gratitude while forest bathing?
A feeling of gratitude is so key to happiness. I know, in my own life, I can feel stressed out and bothered by any number of things. And when I just stop and think of all the things I'm grateful for, it has a profound effect on my mental health. And on forest bathing walks, when you're, out in the woods with people or in a city park or garden, and you all stop and just think about, what am I grateful for right in this moment? And we'll often on forest bathing walks, we'll then share, each person in turn will share what they feel grateful for. It just has a very powerful positive effect.
So what kind of people typically take your tours?
All kinds of people, all ages. It's been amazing to me how natural this practice feels for people. At first I kind of worried, is this going to seem a little new agey or a little weird to people? Because I live in Washington, D.C., so a lot of the people who come on my walks work for government agencies, they're lawyers, they're, working in Washington, and I have never had anybody feel uncomfortable on a walk. It's just amazing to me how people just settle into this so naturally, because we're born to be in nature, and as people living on this planet, for most of our evolution we lived very close to nature, so separating ourselves from it is not something we've been doing for very long. So, this process of reconnecting is something that feels very, very natural to people.
Right. So how do people react? I mean, do you ever have any emotional moments as they're communing with nature?
Yes, indeed. I think the most common reaction people have is that experience of awe, that collective experience of awe and wonder. Sometimes feelings of loss and grief will come up. When people are feeling, very comfortable out in nature, they may suddenly really miss a loved one. And, there have been some powerful moments where people have felt the presence of their loved ones, either through the presence of birds or trees or just kind of in the air on a forest bathing walk. So that occasionally happens. There are a lot of like childhood memories that come up. So, people may start to feel really playful and just remember what it was like to wander around as a kid in the woods, which so many of us did as children. I've had so many people say to me, either through email or by calling me or telling me in person, long after the walk, that it had a positive, life-changing effect on them, that they learned how to slow down and just really notice things. People will say, now when I walk out my front door, I notice that tree on the corner. I watch it through the seasons. I slow down. I pay attention to the pollinators in the spring and summer flowers. I'm really tuned into the beauty of fall or the beauty of a snowfall. So I think it really has a lasting effect for people.
So what about at the end of the walk? People realize they're going to go back to the cell phones and the noises and the hectic pace of contemporary American life. How do you transition back to normal life?
People don't always want to go back. When they've spent 3 hours in Rock Creek Park, feeling very calm and enjoying the beauty of the trees, and they suddenly realize they're going to go back to 50 missed emails and headlines coming across their phones. They may not be anxious to go back, and to a long to-do list as well.
So what do you do?
So we have ways of helping transition back, and what I do on my walks is I will serve pure maple sap from Vermont. I grew up in Vermont, so I love maple trees and maple sap and syrup.
Yeah, kind of some home cooking for you.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So I'll serve maple sap, and I'll serve other gifts from the trees, pure maple candies and walnuts. And so that it's nice to have a snack at the end. And they do that on all the forest bathing walks in Japan as well. And then we'll often read some nature poems. And then I will ask people to share what they plan to take back to their daily lives from the experience. And that's a really positive way of transitioning back, is to think about what you're going to bring back with you from this wonderful experience.
So let me ask you this. So obviously there are skeptics about this. And what do you say to skeptics who say this is a lot of fluff?
What I would say is, if this doesn't work for you, just spend time in nature any way that's comfortable for you. If you like to fish or hunt or hike or kayak or ride horseback, whatever it is you enjoy doing outdoors, you're connecting with nature. You don't have to call it forest bathing. If that phrase doesn't work for you, or if it, the whole concept doesn't resonate with you, but the more time you spend outside, breathing good, clean air, breathing oxygen and breathing all the phytoncides that are produced by the trees and other plants, it's good for your health. The studies show it, but you don't really need the health data when you're out there, because you just know how good it feels. You know it's good for you.
Well, Melanie, thanks for being on American Voices, and thanks for reminding us to add some relaxation and calm to our day by paying attention to nature.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the really wonderful perceptions that you shared with me. I will take those away with me.
Thank you very much. I've been speaking with Melanie Choukas Bradley, nice last name. She's a certified forest bathing guide with the Association of Nature and Forest Therapy and author of The Joy of Forest Bathing. To learn more and to see pictures on the walks, visit us on Facebook. Our show page is American Voices with Senator Bill Bradley. Thank you for listening to American Voices here on my YouTube channel. For more interviews celebrating the goodness and creativity of the American people, click the subscribe button below.